What's up, world? I go by the name of Jabari. It's another Monday, which means it's another Words with Friends podcast. If you don't know, if you are sleeping under a rock or something like that, you can now support the Words with Friends podcast with a tip on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Jabari, patreon.com/Jabari. And if you're getting a little bit of inspiration, if you're enjoying these candid conversations with some people that I'm having on every single Monday, leave a tip at patreon.com/Jabari. That ensures that I can keep bringing it to you guys each and every week, all right? Thank you so much for those that have already done that. And without further ado, I have my man Hannibal Buress in the building. What's up, man?
What's happening, man?
Man, it's good to be back in this house that we're in. Because as we were just talking about, the last time I was here, there was a rager going on. There was a big party in
I don't think it was a rager.
I think it was, okay, it wasn't a rager.
It had potential to go that way.
Yeah.
But it was pretty, I feel like people were pretty mellow.
Yeah, I mean, except when the fight was on, because this was it was a pool /
barbecue
party.
pool / fight party.
Yeah.
The fight kind of the fight is what separated the white people and the black people. Because I feel like it was almost an equal amount of white people and black people here.
It was. Yeah.
But then when the fight came on, I made me realize that black people are way more interested in boxing than white people.
Yeah, it was, it was so funny. It was, I think it was, oh man, there was a very nice young lady. Her name was Molly. I forget her last name, but I was like, me and my friends were explaining to her about boxing.
Yeah.
And she didn't really know much about boxing.
Yeah.
But then, like, when the fight came on and everybody came in the room, it was one of those things where it was like, I don't know what it is about boxing, but like it just brings race into the picture so much more.
Because
like,
I mean, it is.
sports.
Yeah, you root for the. Boxing brings that. I mean, other sports do too, but boxing definitely. You root for the black dude.
Yeah.
If it's a black dude, white dude, you black, you have to root for the black dude, unless he's a murderer. And even still, if he's a murderer, you got to still gauge what type of murders it was. Like, was it horrible murders?
Yeah.
Okay, if it was all right murders, like clean murders, if he didn't torture them, I still got to root for the black dude. It's the boxing and then Jeopardy. Still, anytime I see a black dude on Jeopardy, I remember I was at my folks' crib about a week or two ago in Chicago, and they were watching Jeopardy, and I walked through, and there's two white people had a few thousand. And black dude had -200, and I was like, come on, man, what are you doing, dog? He was just getting crushed, and it was just embarrassing. Even though I might get crushed on that, I didn't like to see that. I didn't like to see that
You
on
feel
Jeopardy.
like you're being represented.
Yeah, man. Especially because, they say that, they have their stats and shit about academic achievement and all of that type of shit. And so I was seeing that on Jeopardy magnified. I didn't like it.
Okay, man. So I always like to start the podcast, man. Introduce yourself to those who may not know you and what your profession is.
My name is Hannibal Buress. I do stand-up comedy and act and write and occasionally do bad raps. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we met maybe... At this time, maybe 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years?
A year and some change. It wasn't a year and some change, man. No, that was... I would say that was at least 2.5 years ago.
Talking about the ballerinas?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, because I remember when I did the song. I did the song in late 2012. That was like December 2012 when I started doing the song live.
Are you sure, man? Because I'm like... I've lived in Los Angeles for a year now, and it was before then. And I would say it was like, this was maybe 6 months or something before I moved.
It was December. I mean, I know when I put out the song.
Yeah, okay.
I put out the song, and then I saw the video. Yeah. I forget how I came across it. The video from your party of the girls dancing.
It might have been, that one made it to World Star. So
yeah, it was World Star. Yeah. The girls doing ballet, the bands that make a dance, and I said, man, I should get ballerinas instead of having hip hop dance, because I do a song called Gibberish Rap, and I wanted to have dancers to cover it up. And so I saw that, and people think I took the idea from Kanye,
from
Runaway.
Yeah, Runaway. Yeah.
But no, it's because I saw that video. These girls doing ballet. The bands would make a dance.
Yeah.
And it was real cool. And I wish I was at that party. It seemed like
it was incredible. For those that don't know, so I one of my parties. I mean, everybody on the podcast knows I throw these parties, but so one of them, for the surprise sort of performance, we had 2 girls come out as ballerinas to. Well, they were real ballerinas. One of them was actually in the ASAP Ferg Work video, and then the other one was just like a traditional ballerina. And they danced a ballet routine to Bands That Make Her Dance, Juicy J. And so then, Hannibal saw
So I saw that, and then I said, how do I find those ballerinas? I have a song, and I want to have ballerinas. And so you linked me up with them, and we did it at Knitting Factory the first time. And I've been using ballerinas pretty much ever since then. All around the country, I've been having ballerinas, and it's fun, man. Just to have that as part of the show and just add a little flair to the comedy set.
Yeah, what does that bring to it? Like, are people super shocked? Because I know when we did it, people were just like, what in the world is going on here? And then they just were like, after that initial like surprise factor, then they saw how good they were. They were just like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, is it the same sort of reaction?
I think it is, especially with mine, because the ballerinas are coming out after I've done about if it's my headliner set, then they've coming out after 60 or 70 minutes of stand up.
Okay.
So the crowd has been kind of lulled into just hearing stand-up, and so when the beat drops and then ballerinas come out, it's pretty cool, especially when the ballerinas are good, because I've had some of varying qualities, and some of them take direction better than others, but when they're good, it's just a funny juxtaposition between my dumb song and them being serious and elegant.
Yeah.
And I think the crowd just enjoys production value. It's just, and I go to a lot of just concerts, just trying to learn things, and it's just fun. It's just, comedy in some settings, and it can be very bare bones. It's just you on the stage with a mic. But if I'm performing in theaters and amphitheaters sometimes with these, you got lighting and you got all big screens and a huge stage and big sound systems. So just figuring out ways to use the space, and if I'm on a big ass stage, the stage look better when there's 5-6 ballerinas up there, and I got a DJ and the light. When you're doing stuff with the lighting and figuring out different things to do with video eventually. So it's just, I think people would enjoy that, because if the comedy, I feel like my comedy is already solid, but if you can elevate it with different things, just elevate the show and make it an experience and just have different stuff, it makes it, especially now just getting people out of the house in general, live entertainment, where people got all type of Netflix and Hulu and all this stuff on the internet. So if people are out and about and they getting tickets and paying for parking, whatever, and dinner plans and all this shit, so I try to just respect that and put on a good show.
Yeah, I mean, how do you compete? I mean, I always tell people, like, who are trying to start a new business or a new endeavor, that you got to keep in mind, like you said, there's so much stuff to compete with.
Yeah.
So literally, just to get somebody out of the house, just to get somebody to click on this link to watch, there are hundreds of alternatives than whatever it is that you're doing. So, like, where do you start with, making your alternative or your whatever it is that you're putting on, whether it's a stand-up, whether it's a comedy special, whether it's anything, like, where do you start with making sure that is different enough than everything else that you're competing with?
Well, I just I'm working on meat, you know what I mean? So I'm just constantly just trying to improve as a comedian, as a show producer, as a promoter, and just make sure I'm putting on a good event. So just whether it's my show, my headliner show, just trying to make sure I'm doing good jokes, or doing good interviews to promote the shows, and just making sure I'm engaging in the press, or if I'm making sure I'm booking good acts and just keeping people surprised and keeping people talking about the event. So that's just the best shit. Even with the internet, the best things is just still word of mouth. That you want people feeling like if they weren't there, that they want to be there the next week or something happens. So that's just that. And so it's just through me performing a lot. I've been able to meet a lot of people, and so I'm able to get people to the show that other people can't get to come to a show in New York. And that, sometimes Chris Rock comes to a show, and then, I always could tell the week after somebody comes through, like if Chris Rock comes through or Dave Chappelle comes, like it was when Dave Chappelle came through. Then the next week, I could tell that there was a bunch of new people that came to the show because they heard Dave Chappelle came through. Like, Dave Chappelle ain't coming through 2 weeks in a row, motherfucker.
Yeah. They're trying to see Dave Chappelle. And this one, well, maybe Dave is going to pop up.
Like, he ain't coming through again, but thank you for coming through.
That's how you reel him in. You reel him in. Yeah.
But it's just through stuff like that, and just you got to be persistent and utilize your connections and bug motherfuckers until they say yes sometimes. And that's really it. Just working hard. And I still, promote. Like if I do the show every Sunday at Knitting Factory, but I still, and it's packed out, but I still promote it. If somebody asks me what I got, like Sundays at Knitting Factory. I don't act like I check my fucking ticket numbers. Even though, like, the show, when I put it on, it sells out religiously, but I still check it like it's not going, like, what are the numbers at? What are they at? What are they at? Like, so I just still just try to work it, man, and I think people respect that and just try to put on good events.
I mean, it's just like, you seem very in tune and, like, kind of got this like independent artist hustler mentality with the stuff that you do. Even though now it's like, even just over the past 2 years, like you've kind of reached a new platform, right? Like you're now in movies. You've got like this. You're on your second Comedy Central special, right? So like, but how important is it as a sort of as a comedian to still like be in tune with everything that you're doing and not letting somebody else, run it? Like, I'm sure you've got, your agents do this, managers do this, whatever. But like I said, you still seem pretty hands-on with everything.
I just like doing it, and I enjoy doing the work and seeing what comes from it. And now, I mean, I enjoy, I'm building my thing, but through Knitting Factory, I've been able to introduce a lot of comedians to a crowd. And people have gotten big gigs through being at Knitting Factory. Not me linking up, but bookers have been through. So people have been booked in Scotland, been booked in Australia, been gotten big auditions or different things. Or just it led to other shows. So that makes me happy when having a show that people can get on and they do well, and it leads to other things. So that's what kind of makes me excited about it. And just still, I like putting together, because a lot of comedians at my level that run a show, a weekly show, they don't book it themselves, but I still book it. I book it, and I do the lineup. I still enjoy, saying, okay, this person will probably do good in a 2 spot right here, and this person should close out the first half, and this person should kick off the second half, and booking the DJ and everything like that. I enjoy that part of the work, just kind of knowing the crowd, engaging how the show flow should go, and who should do an 8-minute set and who should do maybe a 20-minute set. Like, I enjoy that science of just show flow and just audience vibe and just seeing what people respond to. You know what I mean?
Would you ever want to open up your own comedy club?
I don't think so, just because that would kind of hold me in one spot. I've thought about it. And maybe if there's a way to do it where I can, I can be a part of the booking and the design of the place and creating a vibe, but not having to be there all the time. Yeah. I would look at, but it's something that I've thought about, running my own spot eventually. That's something I think about.
That's interesting, man. I've been thinking about that a lot myself because I throw these parties and I make these documentary films, and I'm just like, I kind of want to have my own physical space, but a lot of my friends are like either in the process of opening up spaces, or they've opened up a space or like a sports bar and all this stuff. So I have a lot of peers that have been like telling me the issues of what happens when you have a brick and mortar space. You know, there's like all types of taxes that you don't expect. There's all types of licenses that you have to get. You know, so like I understand that there's a lot of troubles in opening up your own place, but I also see the benefit and the sort of power in having your own place that, you know, you can just literally tell people, I'm not, you know, it's yours, and like the vibe, like you said, everything that you might not be able to get in terms of like aesthetic and things that you want at places that you're doing things at, you can just say, fuck it, this is how I want it to be in my own spot.
Yeah, I'm super sensitive to just small things in the presentation of a comedy show, to the point where I do a lot of music venues and theaters now, and so I still do comedy clubs, but then when I do a comedy club, it's jarring because I might not like their pre-show playlist. Because I usually, if I do a theater, I bring my DJ with me, and he's playing the stuff before. Because I want the whole, if it's my night, if my name on the ticket, I want it to be that from when they step in. I want it to be curated. So I did a comedy club yesterday, and the comedy club was cool. Crowd was great, management was cool, but it was just this one little thing. It was a host and an opening act went on, and then the host went back on. So he was bringing me on, but before he brought me on, he was like, "And welcome to fill out your comment cards and blah blah blah." And I just hated hearing shit about comment cards before I was going on. It just felt. I mean, I know that the club has to, get people's information. That's their lifeblood, where, they get people information they can promote. But it still just felt, just hearing it before my shit, I don't want to hear a comment card promo. Or they just have weird-ass intros sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the comedy club in Nashville. You ready to have a good time? Yeah. I'm in the green room like, oh, this shit sucks. But if I did open a spot, I would think about doing it in a market like a second tier market, like a 400,000, 500,000 city population city, a smaller city, but that needs something as like there's been a couple good comedy clubs that have opened, and Helium is a good comedy club, and they started in Philly. They opened one in Portland. Okay. And then they opened one in Buffalo. And it's doing well, because those cities, you go to a lot of spots. I go to a lot of spots on the road, and people are like, thank you for coming through. And so there's a lot of underserved markets where people, we're around entertainment and got access to stuff all the time because we're in New York, LA, so we get to see what we want. But then, some cities are kind of starved for entertainment. I was in Boise yesterday, and motherfuckers were like, thank you. Can't believe you came to Boise. What are you doing here?
This was like nothing going on.
What are you doing here in Boise? Like, they were so it's just figuring out what is the other city that could use a dope venue like that. Is it Oklahoma City, or is it Little Rock or something like that? And I feel like that could, and the pricing would be lower. Like, buying a property there, buying land there is cheaper. So I've thought about that, but that's definitely more of a 10, 15 year type of thing.
Yeah, long term. Okay. Well, I'm curious, man. How did you grow up? You grew up in Chicago. Yeah. Was it something where this was a career trajectory that you always knew you were going to pursue? Okay.
Not at all.
How did you grow up, and what did you think you were going to be doing when you were?
I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I grew up in west side of Chicago. I had a decent, pretty good upbringing, and my dad is around. People are always shocked about that shit.
Yeah. I know. My dad is around too. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know your dad?
Oh, crazy. You do seem kind of well-adjusted, but weird. But yeah, I had a good upbringing, man. And my neighborhood it was like diet hood. Like, there was shit going on, and I, got into, the street stuff a little bit, but it wasn't overwhelmingly hood, you know what I mean? My area that I grew up in. And
Chicago's kind of like that, though. Chicago, you could easily be in, like, the real serious part of the hood, and, like, 15 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes down is like...
Talk about more like 2 blocks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. In my neighborhood, Austin, North Austin. Mm-hmm. And so it's like Austin is the street that runs north and south, and North Avenue is the street that runs east and west. And on one side of North Avenue is Oak Park, which is a suburb, a nice suburb. And the other side of the street is Chicago. And so, and then you got, it was bordering, my area was bordering the suburbs. So it had kind of both influences. So, like, yeah, but the block I lived on was all homes, just bungalows, all single family homes, and with an apartment building at the end. But then you go a few blocks down on the other side, east side of Austin, that's where there's a lot of apartments. And it's just different
people
behavior.
On top of each other.
Well, not even on top of each other. It's 2 flats or three unit buildings, but sometimes it's it's not overall, but it is a different. Renting and owning brings different vibes in some areas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. And so, when you were growing up, I guess what was your career goals?
I didn't know, man. I just wanted to be successful. I didn't know exactly what. In high school, I just knew, like, I was kind of following just you got to go to college, you get a job, and you get a job, and you live life, and you do this. I didn't know exactly what it was. So when I got into college, I kind of started feeling like I wanted to do something different. I didn't know what it was. I hadn't found stand-up yet, but I did. I felt something where I was like, I feel like I need to be doing something different. I didn't know exactly where to channel the energy. I think I might have been writing a little bit, or writing down shit and journaling, but I didn't know, because I didn't know anybody that was doing stand-up, and I wasn't. It wasn't like now, where stand-up is so accessible, and you got podcasts where you can learn about the process. And, and just you can look on YouTube and look at all stand-up and look at all these interviews and all these different shows, and comedy is very big now. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but then I got into this performing group, and I was doing some plays. It was called Oops Entertainment, and so I kind of caught the performance bug with that. And then one of my friends was doing stand-up. I went to watch him, and it was an open mic, and I decided I wanted to try it out after that. And then when I tried it out, I caught fire in me. I just kept doing it and just stayed focused. Yeah.
Now, was your first open mic? Did the jokes go over well, and were people laughing, or did you just tank?
It went okay. It was a very supportive crowd because it was other open micers and maybe their friends, so it wasn't a high-stakes situation where people, it wasn't like people were paying a big cover charge or it was a big crowd. It might have been 15, 20 people, if that. So the jokes, I got chuckles and stuff, but it wasn't a high-stress performance situation. Okay. So it went okay. It went well enough for me to be excited about it and want to do it again.
Now, I mean, I know that comedians, I mean, it's the type of career that every comedian that I've watched an interview for or I've talked to, everybody talks about how, the early days are the hardest days. It's like when you're starting off, you're going on stage and you're just like bombing, and you're not understanding, like, you're not coming into your voice, or you're not, understanding, like, you're reading each crowd, but each crowd is different, and you're just sort of trying to come into your own. Yeah. Was it like that with you, or was it something where? But I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely. I was trying to find myself creatively, but I wouldn't say it was the hardest time. I mean, it was definitely tough creatively. Like, I had some days where I owe sets that really bummed me out, but I think overall, it was a real. The first few years were kind of carefree. It started in 2002. And so it was you just bomb, and if you bomb, that's it. You just bomb there. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't Twitter then.
Oh, yeah. No YouTube.
There's no YouTube. You just kind of, and it was, and I think, it was a period of time where you weren't as into yourself either. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where you're not looking at shit all the time. You're just doing your shit. And I was writing more, and so it was, you got to find your voice. But I do remember having a lot of fun then, just because it wasn't about. It was just about trying to do a good 10 minutes and then drinking with friends. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it was less pressure. Not that I'm not complaining about anything at all. I'm enjoying everything, and I'm thankful for everything. But just the levels of responsibilities and being real, ignorant of the business aspect of it, and just a lot of different things that come with being in this spot. It was. I look back on those times fondly. I definitely wouldn't. I'm not saying I want to be a fucking open micer again. But I just do. I do appreciate the grind and that time for what it was. I do appreciate it a lot.
I mean, so at what point did you get into like the sort of like next level? Like at what point did you say, okay, well, this is now becoming a reality, and I have to take things a bit more seriously? Like what happened to sort of like switch gears?
I mean, it's a lot. It's still in progress right now. It's just different points, man, and it's been different points since I would say about 2006. Okay, it's been a steady progression since then. In 2006, I got in the Montreal Just for Laughs Comedy Festival, which is the biggest comedy festival in North America, and I got management through that, and got a gig overseas performing in Rotterdam, Holland, like a half hour outside of Amsterdam. So a TV gig, and I was only been doing it 4 years at that time, and so that was really exciting. And then did the Craig Ferguson show, and then did some other stuff with Comedy Central the next year. And then when I did Late Night with Jimmy Fallon and got the Saturday Night Live job, that kind of put me into actual show business. Where it wasn't
writing for Saturday Night Live.
I was writing for Saturday Night Live. And that just kind of took me from just being a stand-up and put me into the television business, which is it was a different world and a different life.
What was the
regular paycheck?
Well, yeah. So yeah, you're getting every 2 weeks you're getting paid. But what was the biggest difference? I guess like what was surprising to you about now entering into the comedy world from a TV standpoint?
Nothing real surprising. It's just it was just. All of a sudden, my co-workers was Kristen Wiig and Jason Sudeikis and Fred Armisen, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just from doing stand-up to, now I'm trying to write sketches and pitch sketches to them. So to be put in that world was it was jarring, and it was pretty crazy, and it was unexpected, and it was awesome, man.
What are some of the things that you learned by writing? Because you wrote for multiple TV shows, not just Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live and 30 Rock, and some awards stuff, like freelance stuff. Just learn how to try to turn a joke fast, and just how to tag a joke and rewording, and just being able to think of something on the fly and twist it, and it's just stuff. You can't really pinpoint what you learn, and just by being there, just how to twist an idea, or just what works as a sketch, and coming up. Like, sometimes you'll have a funny idea, especially in the sketch world. You might have a funny idea, but you need a framework for that idea to work. It can't just work on its own. At least for Saturday Night Live, for like a idea can be a funny idea, but you have to frame it. You know what I mean? You have to frame the idea to give it life. Sometimes.
One thing that sort of like interests me is that you, and this is the sort of trajectory of a lot of, successful creative people is what happens is you do things on your own because you love them, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's your passion, because it comes naturally to you. And then if you get to a certain level, people then come and like offer you money to do those things, right? And now you have to sort of do those things sometimes like within the constraints of whatever the people that are giving you money to do them. Sometimes you get full creative reign or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, was there ever a sort of level of, was there ever a rift in that, process? Was it because like now you're getting paid to do what you do naturally? Were there things that were different, or were there things that were like, more difficult, or just situations that you weren't used to now because people are paying you to, essentially just be funny and you're already naturally funny?
I mean, it's just not riffs, but just in the in the development process, like developing my pilot with Comedy Central. Wouldn't say there's necessarily riffs, but it is, everybody has different ideas of what works. So I might think something is hilarious. The director might think something else is hilarious. I might not like what the director likes. The Comedy Central exec might think that things need to move faster. So it's that kind of thing, mm-hmm. and kind of trying to find a happy medium with that. So that is a different thing, and that's just part of being in the television business. I got to watch other people deal with it while working under them. Mm-hmm. Working at 30 Rock, sometimes after a table read, then the network would call in with notes. I wouldn't be speaking on these calls. Only Tina Fey and Robert Carlock would be talking on these calls, but some of the notes would be all right on the script, and then some of the notes, they would just say things just to kind of justify their jobs. Okay. And you could see Tina, like, it's just funny hearing just the notes process is a funny thing. But sometimes people have great notes, and just, it's good to collaborate. And, if somebody got 4 notes, maybe 2 of them are good, and it might change the whole vision of the project, or just make you think in a different way, and you could kind of take that knowledge into other things that you're writing and creating. So that's just that. Everybody has, when you're creating, a lot of people have different ideas. Yeah.
So, and right now, you're on 2 Comedy Central shows?
I'm on Broad City,
and then
Eric Andre show is on Adult Swim.
It's on Adult Swim. Okay. Yeah. So, what's sort of like the differences in working on each of those shows?
Well, Eric Andre's show is just a weird show, man, where we do crazy bits, and it's highly improvised. We have structure, but it's kind of we interviewing people, and we get to be really weird, and I get to not be necessarily mean to people, but I get to be weird to guests and kind of just chime in, and then the editors cut it together. We'll do a full hour interview with a guest and then cut it down to 2 minutes. So it's an editor's show. So the editors will find these moments, just the moments, and it comes together real tight. Because the show is only 12 minutes long. So it's a weird show. It's made for people that are, a little high, and it's late night on Adult Swim. It definitely has a cult, crazy fan base. When we do the live shows, the fan base that comes, like, they go crazy for when we do the live show. It's a really fun show to do. Eric is super weird and crazy and focused. I
met him in the treehouse.
Oh yeah,
the other night.
And then Broad City is just it's a sitcom. So it's a show. It's based in New York. It's based on Alana Glaze and Abby Jacobson. It's just these girls in New York and what they're dealing with. And it's I'm playing a character in that show. I play Alana's off and on fuck buddy, and so that is interesting just to see how that just how it connects with people in a different way than stand up or the Eric Andre show, because it's a character and people might relate to this person. Where on Eric Andre show, I'm being a weird dude commenting on stuff. People might relate to that, but I'm playing myself. And on Broad City, it's a different type of actor. But both of them kind of, I can feel now how just the experience on camera with both, you get better. You know, like I feel like we film Eric Andre's show now, and I feel like I'm better on that because I did stuff on Broad City and more stand up, and so I feel better on that. And I think when I go back to film Broad City in July, I'll be better because of, you know, more experience on Eric Andre's show. So they both, you know, it's just practice really. I'm trying to just get better at acting, and I'm able to practice on television. You know,
how I mean the sort of like stand up comedian to acting jump is something that I feel like it's one of those. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a stand up comedian, but it's one of those like, is it a like I've made it moment when you are now acting? You know what I mean? Or is that the transition that a lot of stand-up comedians are trying to make? Are they trying to get these sort of roles as you know, characters in movies and in television?
I mean, it varies for everybody. For me, it's just I like to do funny work. Yeah. And if people feel like, you know, if they feel like I can help their project and it's funny stuff, then I'm down to do it. You know, because it's good to be out there doing good work, and also it brings more people to my stand-up. Mm-hmm. Like me being on a TV show, me being in a movie means more people are going to come to my stand-up show. So that's what it is for me. I enjoy doing...
Do you get the most benefit or like the most pleasure for you out of stand-up? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's more immediate.
Okay.
You know, you'll hear a lot of stand-ups talk about this. Acting is fun, but I did Neighbors in May of last year, and then it came out May 9th this year. Yeah, you know, and I'm like, that was fun, but god damn, it took so long. It's gonna come out. Yeah. Am I gonna die before this shit comes out? I could have died, man.
You got a whole 12 months.
I could have died on that time. So that's the thing. Like, where it's awesome to be a part of the project. Now that Neighbors out and, you know, people are enjoying it, it's awesome. It was the #1 movie the first week it came out. And that shit was dope, but that shit took a year. Yeah. Where I could think of a joke or 3 right now, and I can go try that shit later tonight. I can go try it's probably some open mics. You know, what is it, it's 4:30 or something now in LA. It's some open mic at 6. I could probably hit up and try something I thought of. So that's just the thing. And, you know, you get used to it, but it's the immediacy of stand-up. Yeah. That I enjoy. Like, even Broad City was cool because it did turn around pretty fast for a sitcom. We finished shooting Broad City in November of 2013, and it premiered in January of 2014. Yeah. So that was a pretty quick turnaround. So that's what it is. I enjoy doing that stuff, but I like doing stand up because I don't have to. You know what's good right away. Yeah. Where some stuff you don't, TV or movies, you don't know if it's good until it comes out, and you might be sitting around. Yeah. So you might be.
It might be shit.
It might be shit. It might be shit. You might have been sitting around. I can't wait to see this. It's been 6 months. Yeah. And then you're like, oh man, this is horrible. Yeah. I was waiting for this. So that's what it is. Yeah.
What were some things that you learned? I mean, because that movie. I mean, like I told you, man, when I saw Neighbors, I was in a crowd full of black folks, and everybody was dying. Like, it was hilarious. I don't even go to the movies that much, but when I went to that, I was really pleased walking out of the theater. What were some things that you learned from working with, you know, like Seth Rogan and those other guys on that set?
I don't know if I learned much on set. I like Seth's business mind, where he's written a lot of his own projects, and you know, he puts a lot of funny people around him. Mm-hmm. And so it just motivated me to want to write my own. I want to write a low-budget movie where I'm the lead. Like, that's my next move. That's something I want to get done by the end of the year, is get a script finished, my own idea, me as the lead, and put a bunch of other funny people in it with me. And produce it myself and that type of thing. So, and he's produced a lot of his own projects and written a lot of his own projects, which means, you know, he makes a lot of the money from.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of learned from that, and just they kind of kept it loose on set, and they had the story set, but a lot of improvising, but it was real. It was real cool, man. It was a real awesome experience.
Yeah, I think like what you're talking about with producing your own things, man, and like, I think that's when I see people who have sort of done that from not necessarily the beginning, but when I think that's just what separates certain people, and like that's how you are able to sort of control your own destiny, man. Is when you're putting your own funds into something, and like the minute, I mean, I'm sort of in that process right now where I'm working on my next feature length doc, and it's not just me, and it's like whenever it's not just you controlling it, I mean, it's you know what I mean. It's never not just gonna be you, but like when it's somebody else's money, everything takes longer. It's like you don't have as much of a say and all of that stuff. So like, I mean, that in terms of like your trajectory, do you see, you having a production company, rolling out films, TV shows, all of that stuff?
That's what I want to do eventually. That's more of a 3 to 5 year, 5-7 year. I'm thinking, but yeah, I do want to get a couple of my own projects off of the ground, and then start helping other talent kind of produce their things. Mm-hmm. Once I learn what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't teach if you don't know.
Yeah.
So I want to learn the game and, learn what is, get a couple projects of my own out that I wrote, and learn what it is to produce a project and deal with the studios and that part of the business, so then I could help others do the same. I want to do stuff in music too, man. I would like to.
Yeah, you have a huge music knack and bug, I see, with the stuff that you do, and like even having a DJ at your shows and all of that stuff. Yeah. Why do you want to do stuff in music, and what type of stuff do you want to do?
I don't know. I mean, maybe run a small label or something. Mm-hmm. I've been around music pretty much my entire career as far as performing. I started out at an open mic, open mic I hosted in college called Sunday School Sessions. They had, it was people doing music, it was DJs, it was singers, poets, and all that. And I've hosted a lot of hip hop events, and it's just been something that, I used to battle rap in college, and I've been around music and rap a lot. So I just feel like I got a pretty good ear and just a knack for promotion that I could do something in music.
Yeah. What this is one thing I was wondering, man, is how much of your success right now is like dependent on a gatekeeper. And when I say that, I mean like how much is dependent on like a casting person or somebody wanting to book you at this nightclub or whatever, and then how much is dependent on just like you making sure yourself is hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think a big amount of it is just from doing stand-up and meeting people, and these people getting their own projects and then putting me in them. Like, even from getting a Saturday Night Live job I was doing shows. It was New York, Eugene Merman. You heard of Eugene Merman?
No.
Real funny dude. He's done specials and got written books, and he actually has his own comedy festival in Brooklyn, the Eugene Merman Comedy Festival. But he was putting me on shows when I was visiting New York and when I first moved in 2008. And through him, I met A.D. Miles. A.D. Miles was A.D. Miles became the head writer at Fallon, and so I gave him a DVD of my stand-up, and then somebody got sick the day before they were supposed to do Fallon, and then I got called in to do Fallon, and I got the job from there. So it was because of stand-up, just being in the mix of stand-up. Even Eric Andre's shows, because I was doing stand-up, met Eric Andre. He was putting together this show, and he wanted somebody to kind of be the counterbalance to his energy. Broad City I met them through being out and about doing stand-up, and then they had the web series. They put me in a web series, and then it eventually became a TV show. They asked me to do it. So a lot of my stuff is from just being in New York, doing a lot of comedy shows, people liking my shit, and then wanting to work.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of this sounds like the same sort of path of like an independent musician or something. You know what I mean? Like doing all these shows, getting your buzz up, and then making sure that you're following up with people and you're, constantly in people's ear. And so like when the next opportunity arises, it's just like, boom, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I about to say? I feel like in terms of people who are trying to do what you're doing, right? It's like, I know you can't tell them this is what to do, boom, 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 but like, what is the main piece of advice that you give to like an up-and-coming comic?
I just tell them to perform a lot and write a lot. And that's the basic. If you try to do stand-up, just perform a lot and write a lot and try to get better. I guess now it would be, if you're doing sketches, then do sketches, put them online. If you're funny, just do work. You know what I mean? And put stuff out there. Don't be afraid to fail, and just try. And just don't be an asshole. Yeah. If you can help it. That's the main thing. Is just if you want to do something, then do that at the level that you can do it at. You know what I mean?
If If you don't have the means to like make a TV pilot,
then
do something.
Do what you can do. Do it on a handy cam.
Yeah.
Do your version of that, and just try to get better after you've done it. So and just repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think what do you know now that you wish you would have known when you started?
When I started, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I wish, and I still can start doing this. I wish that I took email addresses after every.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on email marketing, man. Like, that is the core of everything that I do, and like, it is so important. And I wish more people took into consideration and account how valuable an email address is, man. Oh my gosh, you still don't do that?
I still don't do it.
Oh my god,
I wish I took emails.
Hannibal, you're killing me. Oh, you got to do it, bro.
Yeah, I wish I took email. I've done it sporadically. I did it early on, and then I did it a couple shows in the West Coast maybe a year and a half ago. But I just wish I took email addresses at every show.
You have to do it. I mean, literally, it's like, here's the thing. When you're dependent on a social network, right? Like, you have a huge social following, but like, not everybody is seeing a tweet that you put out. And you're like, hey,
because it's fleeting. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Exactly. It's fleeting. When you are in somebody's inbox, that is the most direct type of communication you can have with the consumer in today's age. And it's been tried and true. Like,
I know it. Even Apple emails. Yeah. Apple says, hey, we got new phones. Yeah. They email that shit. Check this out. New MacBooks, motherfuckers.
Boom.
Yeah. And you look. Yeah, I know it. It's just it's tough to, it's a lot of habits that I have that either I don't know if I need a personal assistant, if I need to, get some ADD treatment, but I have some organizational issues that, if I, the email thing, that could definitely, I mean, if I looked at an email address the way you should look at it, which is, an email address is a, potential ticket sold, or could be 4 tickets sold, or 10 if they bring a group. Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I wish I should start doing again, and just, I wish I did more video stuff. I don't do as much online video stuff as I should. Like, as far as,
do you like have your own channel?
I got a YouTube channel, but I don't post it. I got maybe a couple thousand subscribers, but I don't. It could be more if I really fueled that. So it's a lot of different things on my, like as far as the business. I'm not putting forth the full court press the way I.
Question: why do you think that is? If you know that you need to do it, what's stopping you?
Comfort. Comfort and working, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, if it's not, I'm in a good spot, so it doesn't, if I'm going to somewhere and my shows is selling out, then I don't feel the need to, I'm not scraping. So even though, you can always do better.
But you can do two nights. Instead of doing one, you can
always do better. You can always do better. I know that. It's just, it's laziness and maybe needing to get a good, probably need to get a good producer or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stay on you about that, man, because you're losing a lot right now. I mean,
merchandise. I don't do enough merchandise. I used to sell T-shirts after show. I don't have an online store set up. I got a bunch of kind of catchy jokes that people repeat to me or just say to me online that I should have on T-shirts that could probably do good numbers. So I don't have my merch game isn't right now. I'm leaving a lot of money on the table.
Oh man. Okay, so this has now turned into like the
business intervention.
Exactly. Let's get Hannibal.
Fix my brand.
Yeah. Okay, so what's next for you, man? Like what aside from fixing all this stuff, what's in your path, man?
Right now, just finishing up season 3 of Eric Andre show. Then, a couple festivals this year, doing Sasquatch and Bonnaroo.
Yeah, that's going to be dope.
Yeah, and then it's doing season 2 of Broad City and probably doing another movie in the summer and just working. Yeah. Then probably do a big tour in the fall, do a big stand-up tour. And that's pretty much it.
Knitting Factory still?
Knitting Factory still going. Yeah, work out the new stuff there every Sunday.
Yeah, y'all got to come through the Knitting Factory, man. There's some really dope talent over there, man. When I lived in New York, I would go through and crack up every time. Cool, man. And where can people find you?
HannibalBuress.com and Hannibal Buress at all social networks. Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. Hannibal.
And if you wanted somebody to watch one piece of your work, what would you suggest? What's the funniest
one thing? Oh, man. One bit? I don't know. I would say check out my set from Fallon. Late night, the Tonight Show with Fallon, the latest one. I got a nice 5-minute bit on New Orleans. Yeah. But just go through.
That's the bit about you, like in the parade.
Yeah, throwing the parade.
Yeah, that was fun.
That one, maybe gibberish rap with Bun B.
Yeah, that's funny too.
Yeah,
dope. All right. Well, you guys know, man. Every Monday, Words with Friends podcast. Please leave a review in the iTunes store, SoundCloud.com/Jabari, and the next Colors Party is on May 30th in New York. We're back at Tammany Hall. Come through nyc.mycolorsparty.com for tickets and use the code Words with Friends for 10% off. And like I said, leave a tip if you're enjoying the podcast. If it's starting your week off right, go to patreon.com/Jabari and leave a tip. And thank you guys so much for listening. And please get in tune with my man Hannibal Buress stuff. You'll start dying and crack up because this man is very funny. All right. Peace.